connections. So it's PMC. P is purpose, A is autonomy, M is mastery, and C is for connections. And relationships are the thing that shows up most in the happiness research as far as happy people. They're also really big in the performance research for how people are successful. And you can imagine a person who sits by himself versus a person who knows everybody across all of the departments, who can motivate people to work with them, who enjoys talking to people at lunch. The difference in those two employees and their performance is significant. And so, according to Diener, experts at the Gallup organization suggest that people need to have good friends at work. And this is a really interesting thing, the concept that, you know what, people really aren't coming to work for the company. They're really not coming because they love the company. They're coming because they love the people and because they want to support the people. And when we talk about a higher purpose for the company, it's because they want to join with those people in accomplishing that higher purpose. And so it's really the people and the friends are the reasons people come to work. And again, companies tend to forget that. They tend to think, oh, well, you know, you need to be focused and you need to be working all the time. But the truth is they're going to be more productive, more engaged, and they're going to do a better job if they're connecting and they have friends and social support. A big piece of the social support is during the negative times when things are down in the company, or when there's a big client pitch to do, or when there's stressful situations going on that day. Employees need that support. They need a social network they can go to, either to vent to, or to help them with their workload, or to help them do a better job, because working with different departments, getting different departments to work together. So social support is really important, both for their happiness and for their performance. And George Valent did a study, or actually he's in charge of a study that's really been going on for 70 years. And at Harvard, they looked at incoming students and did these surveys and tests on them. And then they followed these students now for the past 70 years to see what happened in their lives. And he looked at all that research, and what he came up with, after 70 years of evidence, relationships with other people matter more than anything else in the world. And so relationships were the most important thing for the happiness and success of those Harvard students. And for many of them, it was good relationships when they were young, but others had poor relationships and built those relationships later on in life. And the key to their success and happiness was building those relationships either later or earlier. It also impacted their income. So their income was 2 to 3 times more when they had stronger relationships. So. And then one of the best predictors of job satisfaction, job engagement, and retention is your relationship with your direct supervisor. And I think we talked a little bit about that earlier. And that is, people will stay at the company if they like their supervisor, and they will leave the company if they don't like their supervisor. So making that a good relationship is one of the keys to keeping people engaged and just keeping them working for your company. So how do we do it? What do we do to encourage connections? So the first thing is to facilitate and encourage friendships in the workplace. And this means encouraging people to go to lunch together, giving them a place in the office or outside the office where they can sit and have lunch together, encouraging them to drink coffee together, let them stand around by the coffee machine and talk. These things are counterproductive to what we've heard in the past, but it's those connections, those personal relationships that allow people to do things outside of their silo and get outside of their department and really bring to life good solutions that really change the company. Celebrate birthdays, work anniversaries, promotions, and babies. Again, make it personal. Let people know what's going on in their lives. They want to talk about it. It's important to them. And their friends want to know about it. People want to know what's going on in other people's lives. They want to make that personal connection. And once they make that personal connection, they're going to be much more supportive of that person. They're going to be much more open to mistakes they make. They're going to be much more open to coming in and helping them when there's a workload challenge. So it's these personal things that make their work lives better, make them more engaged. Events and team competitions, we do things like happy hours, office Olympics. It's Halloween coming up, so we have the costume contest, we have the cube decorating contest. There's lots of different things that you can do, either as a company, as an office, or just within your department. Food drives. We have competitions with food drives who can bring in the most money or the most cans for, to feed somebody a Thanksgiving dinner. So these events and competitions really help people get to know each other. They help people with teamwork. They help people work across departments. And then those relationships are leveraged when it's necessary to be innovative within the company. And then again, we talked about the employee-supervisor relationships, and it's keeping an eye on those relationships and ensuring that every supervisor and every employee have mutual respect, mutual empathy, mutual gratitude, and mutual admiration. And again, what used to be popular was the mean supervisor that got a lot of productivity out of their employees, but that's no longer the case. You don't want the mean supervisor anymore. You want the supervisor who understands his employees and his employees appreciate him, because those are the employees that are going to be productive and engaged. There's also a myth about when an employee gets promoted, they need to stop being friends with their employees or their new employees. So when you become a supervisor, then the friendships are gone because now you have to be serious. Well, that's not really the case. What the research shows is that you can leverage those friendships, and instead of being mean to your employees, we need to teach these young supervisors how to make their employees more successful and how to make what they know about their employees, how to take what they know about their employees and use that to help them be more successful. And again, to create situations where they're helping the employee get better rather than showing them what they're doing wrong. So don't tell them what's bad, tell them how they can get better and how they can improve. Same conversation, just turned a different way. And again, the research shows that's one of the best ways to keep your employees, to keep them engaged, to keep them happy. If they love their supervisors, then they're going to have a thumbs up every morning when they come in. And so your activity lists 3 ways you can encourage connections among your team. So what are some things that you can do at work? We do things like after a good hard project that takes 90 minutes to 2 hours, go outside and throw a football around or play hacky sack or kick a soccer ball. One of the big things there is getting people involved that aren't as athletic, because it brings out the help side of people who are more athletic. It gets people to cooperate. It gets people to recognize the pros and cons, the strengths and weaknesses people bring. Anyway, so there's a lot of different things you can do. So what are some ways you can encourage connections among your team? One of the things we do is spend the first 5 minutes of a meeting letting there be personal talk, letting them chit-chat among themselves and find out what happened over the weekend. And that first 5 minutes makes those meetings go so much smoother, because now there's teamwork, there's personal connection. We identify with the people and we want to help them versus feeling like they're just somebody else in another department. Okay, I'm going to take you to one more activity, and this is the kind of catch-all activity. And for some of you, you may have to actually get approval higher up the ladder. For some of you can implement this throughout your company, but give a bonus or / budget to someone who exemplifies your company purpose. And the concept here is we want people to support the company purpose or the team purpose. We want to find examples of that. So find somebody who's doing a really good job of that, and then give them, and the reason I call it a budget is give them a budget and ask them to spend that budget. Don't actually give them the money to keep. Ask them to spend it. And ask them to spend it either on their team or on a charity, and hopefully a charity that's actually chosen by their team. So they can take their team out to lunch or out to dinner, out to a happy hour or something like that. And then they just give you the expense form and you approve that. And so this brings everything together. So it brings mastery because they're doing a good job, and you're recognizing that good job. It brings purpose because the job they're doing is supporting the purpose of the team or the company. It brings autonomy because they get to decide where that money gets spent. And it brings connection because it brings the people together. And there's new research on that by a guy named Anik, and it shows that these type of bonuses are 3 times more effective than just giving them the money, because people actually are happier giving away money than they are receiving money. I know that, again, that sounds counterintuitive, but they really are. People like to give, they like to share, they feel really good when they can take a great job they've done and share that with their teammates, especially since their teammates are part of their success. And hopefully in a good team they recognize that. So that